Hi everyone. As you know, I always look for cheaper and healthier alternatives for low carb flours. So far, I have successfully used sunflower, pumpkin, black and white sesame seeds, and flax seeds to make excellent keto bread that is so much lighter and fluffier. I've also used walnuts, hazelnuts, and pecans successfully to make lighter and fluffier keto nut bread. So today I would like to introduce you to my new peanut bread using raw peanuts. Now, as you know, peanuts are the cheapest nuts. Though they are technically not from the nut family, they are classified as legumes along with foods like green peas, soybeans, and lentils. Many people believe that peanuts are not as nutritionally valuable as true nuts like almonds and walnuts, but peanuts actually have the same health benefits as the more expensive nuts. Okay, now peanuts are low in carbs and they are rich in protein, fat, the good fats mainly, and fiber as well. They are also excellent source of various vitamins and minerals. Now for this peanut bread, I actually grind the raw nuts whole with the skin on until a finer texture. Uh, in my keto bread baking tutorial video, I actually forgot to mention that when we grind nuts and seeds at home, it is not possible to grind them until super fine. Uh, the reason is that for commercial ground ones, they are super fine because they press out all the fats or oil and then they sell them separately. So the leftover cake is easily ground into super fine texture and then they are sold as flours. Right? Now this is why when we grind the nuts and seeds at home, the fat contents are still intact. So we are unable to grind until super fine because it will turn into a paste or butter. But I feel that this coarse texture is totally fine for making bread, cookies or cakes, because they add to the crunch. I think the only problem is when you need to roll out the dough into a thin layer for pastries, then that might be a bit problematic. Now, besides using raw peanuts, I actually tried with roasted nuts, but the bread with roasted peanut version is a lot darker and it smells and tastes of peanut butter, which is, that means it's quite strong. So I actually prefer the raw peanut version because the bread is lighter in color and it tastes milder. Okay. Now apparently there are 4 different varieties of peanuts. They call it the Runner, Virginia, Spanish, and Valencia. I am not sure what are the varieties that I am using because they are not stated at the shops. Okay. Now from the supermarket, when I tried this, the skin looks a bit darker. Alright, but it is raw. And then I also got this, which is skinless from the supermarket. And a funny thing is when I use both of these to make the bread, it turns out to be a little bitter. It's just a subtle bitterness, not very strong bitter, just mild bitter. But when I go to the grocery shops, they sell in loose forms. You take how much you want, you weigh it, and you pay for it. And I got this version, which is, as you can see, this is a bigger one, and it's very light in color, the skin. And when I bake this up, it is so light and fluffy and soft, and no bitter taste at all. Okay. Now this is the same one that I got from the grocery shop, the one they sell in loose forms. It is just smaller in size compared to the one earlier. This is just smaller in size, also lighter in color. And this is much sweeter, I tasted it, it tasted quite sweet. And this one also bakes up nice, soft, light, fluffy, and not bitter, So I'm not sure why some of them are bitter and some are not, but I think if you were to buy from the supermarket, maybe the turnover is low, so the quality has reduced. And you know, nuts, they turn rancid quite fast, so it's best to get with a higher quality and the fresher ones. Okay, now I prefer to actually grind with the skin on, because I think it's a lot easier, you know, to remove the skin is so cumbersome. Plus, peanut skins are rich in antioxidant, so keeping the skins on is actually beneficial. Now, the only difference with this peanut bread is that it does not absorb water as well as my other nut bread, so the texture can be a little moist, but it is soft, it is light and fluffy. Once they're toasted, they are dry and they're super crispy. Okay, so now let me show you how I made this keto peanut bread. Now let's start by placing the raw nuts into a multi grinder. You can also use a coffee bean or spice grinder. Even a powerful food processor works as well. Now pulse a few times at a few seconds each time until the nuts are finer. So that's it. It is ready. Now transfer the ground nuts into a bowl. You can actually grind them in bulk and then store it in the fridge or freezer. It's very convenient for future use. Now this is the final texture. It is still a bit coarse and you may have some chunks inside, but that's totally fine. 390 grams or 3 1/4 cup of ground peanuts, 27 grams of ground psyllium husk, 1 1/4 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Now mix until well combined. Now next we will start adding in the wet ingredients. 6 large egg whites or 230 grams of egg whites, 45 ml of apple cider vinegar, 240 ml or 1 cup of hot or boiling water. Now mix until a dough is formed. The dough will firm up as you mix it longer. The dough is ready. Now transfer the dough into a standard 8x4 pan lined with parchment paper. Spread evenly and leave the top round. Bake in preheated oven at 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius for 1 hour. And that's it, the bread is ready. Now cool completely before slicing. Now look how soft the texture is. The texture is so light and airy and soft. And fluffy as well. Now when toasted, it is nice and dry and super crispy. Just spread some butter or cream cheese and it is so good. It's great for sandwiches too.